We're live, and as always, for educational purposes only, not financial advice. I'll wait for this to spool up just a little bit. My percentage to get better. There we go. It's trying. Come on, Substack Live. Let's go. All right. This is my exact setup that I run every day that allows me to make very simple decisions. I do have also a big update that I'm going to show you here in a little bit on the SPX 0DTE. I put out that first trade yesterday as far as based off of our percentages, and it was an 81% of the time it wins, and it won. So if you did a 5 lot, you made $700 profit on that. So congratulations if you're following me over there in the Discord. And I'll post those every day. There is gate math that goes along with that, so you want to make sure that it covers the spread, but I'll post all that with it. Pivot, weekly pivot, 29,392 on the NASDAQ says do not pass go, do not collect $200, okay? So as you can see, and you know I'm very particular about the weekly pivot. I'm bringing it to you because it's a Wednesday, so I'm showing everybody that until you can get above a weekly pivot, it's hard to be real bullish unless you get into some of your targets, and then you can take your shot with a stop loss there. Right now, we are just hung in NVIDIA City waiting on it to report. So until it reports, this is probably what we're going to have, which it reports after the close today. And then, of course, after that, we're waiting on the Fed. Isn't it amazing that a free market, right? Free capitalist market, trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, just the United States. One company and one guy talking can hold up an entire free economy. So is it really free? I don't know. Does it do what it wants to do, or is it influenced in ways that that we just don't want to know? I don't know. That's just food for thought on this Wednesday morning, because it annoys me, honestly, that the whole market sits sideways for 3 or 4 days waiting on one company to report, because it's supporting the whole world right now. As far as the stock market goes, it's the AI story, right? It's the narrative, it's the hope, it's the dream, it's the build out, it's the we're going to have data centers in space with SpaceX and blah, 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 blah. And like I said, here in America, we love to chase the bigger the dream, the bigger the unknown. We love that. So I wouldn't bet against it, what I'm saying. They love chasing those narratives. So as you can see, the NASDAQ stuck right in the middle, right, of our monthly R1 and our pivot. Sorry to get on a rant there. What do? You look at your weekly and you say, okay, here is my weekly pivot, and we cannot get past that. That was the exact highs, right? First buying opportunity on the weekly is over here. Now, if you are a scalper and a day trader, you can flip over to your daily pivots and use those to your advantage. But here's what I recommend. If you're new, learn how these work. Take your time, okay? Take your time. Take shots at bigger levels, and you will have bigger opportunities to make easier money, okay? You're not going to take as many trades, but it's easier that way. And yes, all these new updates that go along with the pivot, they will be rolled out to people that's already bought the indicator. So I will be getting that. I have just a few bugs left on the SPX and a few other things that I'm trying to get solved, and then you will get those in your email. And if you have any problem, of course, you're just going to let me know. I haven't rolled any of them out yet. I've rolled none out to anybody. So keep that in mind. As soon as I get it bug free, so that way when I know you get it, that it's accurate and it works, I will be sending it your way. I like to test that stuff a little bit. All right, so that's the NQ. Let's look at our old friend SMH. See if the AI story is alive or dead. Let's look. So as you can see, we gapped that down over here, and I'll turn on my after hours here really quick on equities, just so you can see it. Show extended hours, apply it. We won't have the gaps. We had that perfect run up that morning into resistance, and we were talking about that, and it's been nothing but a down move since. Can't get above the weekly pivot. Same look as NQ, right? Until you can get above that weekly pivot and take off, just don't fight it. Don't fight that urge. Don't fight that itch. I'm going to show you some really important stats that'll help you with that based off of my levels. VIX, here's another one. The VIX, just laying down here below this big monthly pivot that I've been talking about all month, 1603. Until it gets above that, this market's going to be in chop, or until it drops further. The NVIDIA earnings will be everything tonight after the close. So you'll see after the close, if you watch the futures, they'll still be open till 4 o'clock, and you'll see some massive moves, I would imagine. And it might be a nothing burger. A lot of the times that happens too. And then from there, we will make decisions based off of our levels. Let me see. So NQ, let's look at the ES on both time frames. I'm going to zoom this one in just a little bit so you can see it better. NVIDIA earnings today. Yeah, I keep getting a bunch of alerts about all the NVIDIA earnings. We know. You can see same thing, just snuggled up to the pivot, just waiting. What is it, $80 trillion or something? I don't even know what the metric is now. I quit reading about it because it's just insane. Waiting on one company. One. Put that through your brain. Holy cow. It's unbelievable. Or at least to me it is. This is not something that, like I said, it's just Chop City. What's good to do in Chop City? Sell premium, and I'm going to show you that. Let's look at oil really quick and gold because we like to keep an eye on those. Here's gold. Hey, we knew it was stretched in the upper bands, right? R3 overshoot doesn't get there much. R2 at 45.93, sitting on the weekly pivot. Sitting, that has been support. See that? Support. So if you're a scalper, you're buying, you're selling, right? You're buying, you're selling on 20-point bounces every time. If you like to scalp, know those levels. Let's look at oil. If you're a swing trader, you're just riding that momentum up. You don't care what it does. Oil getting a little bounce off of exactly S1 and exactly the monthly pivot. Where did it bounce last time? Monthly pivot. That's why I tell you the pivot's the most important. Bullish above, bearish below until it reaches a target. We found a target. We're getting a bounce. Great scalping opportunity. See what it does from there. What it looks like this morning so far, getting a little bounce in some commodity side, and the stock market's just parked, watching NVIDIA's front door, waiting for them to come out. And of course, they're going to beat. That's not a question. It's going to be their forward guidance, how they're spending money, also their cash, what they're doing to drive revenue. I'd say the demand will be off the chart, and all will be well in that world. Let's look at SPX. SPX, same look, right? Gap down, resistance on R1, and now we're just flagging. Not a great looking, beautiful pattern there. Trying to sit on the weekly pivot over here on my right side of your screen. See if it can hold. That's been the hold spot so far. That's where it wants to hold since it got on top of it. Remember, once we're on top, it's support until proven otherwise. And right now it's support. When we were below it, it's resistance till proven otherwise. How did they get on top of it? They gapped up on top of it. They wanted up there. They went and got it. Okay, so that's the broad market. Let me show you what I'm doing over here. And like I said, with the purchase of the indicator, you do get these. So just give me time and I will roll this out to the people that do. And I think that it will be a good spot to, we'll see if it can load this data with me streaming. There it goes. It'll be a good spot to keep this on one of your screens. I've got it for the SPX, the QQQ so far. I will get it for the XSP and the SPY, but the SPX is kind of the main tool that I've measured off of everything so far. And what this does, let me explain it, and I'll probably just put out a video, but a brief talk here really quick. Based on our findings that I've sent through an unimaginable amount of compute power and time and effort, okay? Based off of my levels in every angle you could ever imagine viewing it from, looking for statistical patterns, because there is a real SPX roadmap. Everybody puts out, you know, a letter, the SPX roadmap, the daily roadmap, the blah, 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 blah. Well, what does a real roadmap look like? Well, I'm showing you one right now, and let me explain to you how it works and why it works. We measure these first 3 bars in several ways. Like I said, that's why they are white every day. Based on whatever they do, wherever they close, the percentages are produced at that third hour for each level if it qualifies, okay? If you sell credit at that level, what your win rate percentage is for the last 10 years of data. Okay, it's as simple as it can get. Once this third hour closes, these are going to populate on your screen and tell you if I sell R1, which is the trade that I put out yesterday, and look how close we were. We even wicked above it on that 4th hour. I've got an 81% chance of winning. So that means I've got a 19% chance of losing. Fat credit, so it's a thick credit because it is right at the pivot, okay? I think that I got it for $1.40 to $1.60, somewhere in there yesterday on a 5 lot. So it's about a $700 win. And all I had to do was believe in the 81%. Where did we close? Look at this last hour, what it did. And this is holding till close. This is not managing the trade. So you manage the trade based on your spread width. If you want to risk 500 a lot, or if you want to risk 50 a lot on like an XSP, you can do that as well. But this right here is holding till the close, not managing it. The way you manage it is by the spread of the trade, and that's how the math works. Very simple. Here's our third hour close. You get in the trade, that's an 81%, okay, 81%. If I would have been paying attention, I should have sold this floor right here at 88%. But I took my trade, I had other things to do, and then I come back at the end of the day to see, and we were below it. Perfect, 81% of the time that works. If I would have been paying attention, I would have sold this floor right here as well. And that way I can only lose on one side, if that makes sense. Sell puts here, sell calls here. But the time, so if you just sell a condor there at one time, you're not going to get any money for this side at all. You're just not, because we're all the way up here. When we have this flush down, that's when you get paid on this side. So if you sold the calls here because, hey, I've got an 81% chance of winning, then I sell the puts here because I've got an 88% chance of winning. Well, now I've got both sides and I've doubled my money. I don't know if I'd have got quite as big a credit because we didn't get as close, but that's just how this works. The day before, you can see these first 3 hours close. It doesn't give me a stat here because this one didn't qualify. And the reason that it didn't qualify was right here. This close is right like a penny under the line. When that happens, it doesn't meet our metrics anymore. So it doesn't qualify. So you get this to qualify and you get this to qualify because the way this structure is built. So you'd have had an 84% chance if you sold it there. Okay. What I did was personally, I went back through the last 30 days and looked at every trade for the last 30 days and how I would have taken the trade just based on how I look at stuff. I would have lost 7 of the last 30 days. And what that tells me is this day right here, I would have lost. I would have sold this 88% floor for a fat credit and I would have got smoked because it kept coming down. I am quantifying why these days are different, okay, and how to identify them. And I've got one way right now that we're measuring it that identifies that. So we will continue to build on that because I don't want to lose 7 days. The math still works out. I still make money every month. By doing it that way, that's what matters the most. But the second part is, where is that second part of the conviction? And we are working through that right now. But as you can see, if you're a day trader, you know that 2 things yesterday, okay? If I'm trading NQ futures, if I'm up here, I'm not going to try to get long because 81% of the time, this is the top for the day. If I'm down here, I can try to get long some NQ futures. Why? Because this is 88% of the time, it's the floor. Okay, and I'm going to use my NQ futures and watch this over here. This gives me the actual roadmap that everybody desires. Okay, this is a real roadmap. I'm not going to cheat you and tell you that it's going to work every day because it's not. And this is what I mean by that. This day right here, when it spiked to R1 roof right here, didn't quite touch it. That close was right here on this candle. That credit's not going to be probably big enough to sell, especially with the VIX sitting down here at 15. Now we get a VIX number that's up towards 20 and we're using these, those credits will be a lot bigger, or they'll be better anyway. So keep that in mind. So this day was probably a no trade day because we never were close enough to actually take a risk that was worth the spread on the trade. This day would have been great. And I'm just kind of giving you a few examples. We close here, you sell this roof, it automatically flushes through the pivot floor. Now this is an 84% chance of winning, but I'm going to try to take this trade as soon as possible. So that's how I'm going to trade it, as close to the biggest money as I can, because I want the biggest credit. Okay. Close below the pivot, the floor held at 88% here. So this was an 84% of the time we closed above this pivot and it lost. Okay. For me, every trade I look at, I can tell you exactly where I would have wanted to take it. This, I would have wanted to take the roof because it's just the closest to the close and the closest to the money. Here is another trade. I think this trade would have gotten me as well. I think I counted this as a loser because I would have sold this floor when we got here for a big credit. And then you can see it actually holds the 93 instead of the 91. These 7 days, I think 6 of the 7 that I lost have a common trend, which is when they continue to grind down. Okay. When that happens, we have to be able to identify that. And I'm working on that because I want to turn this into a no-go trade based on that probability. At least a bigger understanding of, I'm going to size down because my risk of this continuing to grind down is a problem that I want to be able to put on your chart so you can look at it and say, oh, doesn't meet the metric because of this. So we're going to be very careful and size small. Okay. On the days that are big like this, that we understand we're right at the money, we can sell it, and we are meeting those metrics, that's the days you go bigger. And then on your lost days, you want to be smaller. So we'll continue to drill that down, but this is a real roadmap. And this, as you can see, you can go back and study it and see that. Watch these first 3 bars. Where does it close? What would you have done and why? This, the only thing you could have done was try to sell this pivot floor because that's the only one to me that's close to the money, 84%. Okay. Close above. 3rd bar closes. What am I going to try to sell? On this bar, I'd probably try to sell this pivot roof as long as the gate measured. Okay. As long as as quick and as close as I can get to these, I will sell them. Same thing here. I would have sold this pivot floor at 84%. Now here's the thing. This is holding until the close. It's going to white knuckle you. Yeah, because when it does this and your short strike is here, you're going to say, that's a loser. Or maybe if you're like me, you might look at it as, I want to sell this and it also be a winner. But that's a trade that you got to understand the strategy. But look where it closes. It did what it was supposed to. This is the part that you have to shut off and walk away from because you will mismanage it every time, especially if you're newer. If you understand your risk and reward going into it and the math behind it, which I will put out, it's not a big deal. This is a great trade right here. Closes here. You can sell that 88% pivot floor right here for a big credit because you're close, and it just stays above it the whole time, closes where it's supposed to. These are the trades that we will continue to monitor, and I will bring you at the 3rd hour today. I will post this exact screenshot today once it populates and put it in my Discord, just because it's the fastest way to get it out to you. I can put it in an article, but I just don't know if it's that fast. So I will post this and see what you can do with that for your knowledge and start studying every day. Okay. For the people that have bought it, I will be rolling this out soon. I just want to make sure the bugs are worked out of it before I send anything out, because 2 things, I don't want you to have misinformation, and 3, or that's 1. And 2, if I send it to you and it has a bug, then you're trading off of it. That's not good for your pocketbook. So I will continue to go through this and study it and make sure that everything is, I know the numbers are correct, I know they're populating on the right spots now, which is the biggest key to all the puzzle. But we'll test it today, see how quick it populates on the 3rd hour, make sure it's there as soon as it closes, and I will get it out to you. Okay. With that, hey, everybody, just wait on NVIDIA. And then after NVIDIA, let's wait on Jackson Hole, because like I said, there's just a few keys to controlling this trillions and trillions of dollars that's traded in this free market. All right. With that, as always, we will talk soon.